prove that if a over b is equal to a plus c over b plus d, then a over b is equal to c over d. So the first thing is to write the given statement and specify the reason as given. The second part would be to, of course, cross multiply. Okay, so you're going to cross multiply the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. Okay, so this is obviously the means extremes property of proportions. Okay, so basically you're taking the numerator of the first fraction, multiplying it with the denominator of the second, and setting that product equal to the denominator of the first fraction multiplying the numerator of the second fraction. And this is what the means extremes property of proportion does. Okay, the next thing is to, of course, distribute the a to the b and d using the distributive property of multiplication and setting it equal to the same type of operation for the b. And of course the reason will be the same as was just named by me, which is the distributive property of multiplication. Okay, so the next thing is to set AB equal to BA. And why do we need that? We need that because we want to eliminate AB and BA at the same time. And we need to leave AD being equal to BC. So for this reason, in order to eliminate, first we have to use the commutative property, right? So this step is explained by the commutative property of multiplication. And the commutative property explains that you can switch the order of factors in the product in whichever way you want. It's not going to change the product result, right? So that's what commutative means. As you can see, a comes first here, but the b comes first here on the right side of the equation, but the product is still the same. The next part is to, of course, substitute AB for BA here, right? So in this equation, we're going to substitute AB with BA because we already showed that AB is equal to BA. Right, so for this equation, we get BA plus AD is equal to BA plus BC. So as you can see now, these two BAs can be subtracted from both sides. But before we do that, we have to explain the step. And the step again is substitution. Substitution property of multiplication. No, substitution property of equality. We're not multiplying anymore. Substitution property of equality. Okay, so now, as we've said, we can subtract BA in both sides of the equation, and as a result we'll eliminate the BA that way. So how would you explain this step? This step can be explained by simply saying subtraction property of equality. Subtraction property of equality. Alright, so this is the subtraction. Now the next part is to simplify. By simplifying, we mean basically substituting. BA minus BA is equal to 0 essentially, right? So 0 plus AD is simply AD. That's why we will call it substitution. So BA is gone on both sides. We just have AD is equal to BC, and that's what we wanted to see. Right? So we can say substitution property of equality. Same reason as was used in step number 5. Now the next step is to divide both sides. So notice that we're trying to arrive at this conclusion, a over b. So naturally you might want to divide by b first. So AD divided by b is equal to BC divided by b. And this step is obviously division, so we're going to say that this is division property of equality. Okay, so now the next part is to, of course, substitute. Notice that AD over B stays the same. There's nothing we can do about it, but the B over B here is 1. 1 times C is C, right? So we can make a substitution. So as a result, this is again substitution property of equality. Now finally, notice that we still need to divide C by D, right? So in order to do that, you have to divide both sides by D. So AD divided by BD is equal to C over D. And remember, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the same, just like we did in step 8. Right, so notice that when you divide by D, D will multiply the B. Right, so this way we can explain it again as the division property of equality. And now finally, the 11th step, the last step, is to substitute again. So notice that D over D is 1. 1 times A over B is simply A over B. So we make this substitution is equal to C over D. And we've arrived at the final statement that we needed to prove, right? And the proof of that, the reason for it, of course, is going to be substitution. Substitution property of equality. So you've successfully arrived at the statement, and you've successfully proven all the steps as you came to this final statement. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.